We're here with James Berman and Jason Strachan of Sidewinder Racing, and can you guys tell us a little bit about the kind of racing you do?
Yeah, we do long course desert racing. It's off-road racing. We race through the open desert in the southwestern states where there is desert and in Mexico.
So how did you guys get into this kind of racing?
Basically, James and I have been racing most of our lives. It was only a matter of time, for us to get together and decide to put together our own team and go out there and see what we've got against the rest of the world, basically.
So when did you guys start doing this? When was Sidewinder founded?
We hooked up back in 2010 is when we decided to start racing and went for our first championship.
So how many championships have you guys won so far?
We just clinched our third this year in Best in the Desert, our second consecutive in Best in the Desert. Back in 2010, our first year, we raced in Bonneville Off-Road Racing in that sanctioning body, and we won that championship. So we have 3, and in HDRA, High Desert Racing Association, we're racing in that organization this year, as well as SCORE and Best in the Desert. There's 1 race left in that organization. We lead by 2 points, so we're hoping to tie up that championship as well and have 4 in 4 years.
Wow, that's wonderful. Congratulations, you guys. So as I understand it, you run your truck on regular gasoline, unlike the other race cars in your competitions. How does that work?
Well, we use a product called Efficiamax fuel treatment. It allows us to run the lower octane fuel, and there are power advantages to doing that, and it gives us the protections of the higher octane fuel for our higher compression racing engine. Also saves us a wad of cash.
Can you guys tell me more about this product and what you've seen?
It's definitely giving us power and economy. Both are important in racing. We do have to pit for fuel, so it's nice to do that less frequently. The product is a burn rate modifier. It's bringing the cylinder temperature down about 400 degrees, starting the fire sooner, which is causing the fire to burn longer, which burns more of the fuel molecules, and that's where you get your efficiency. That kind of efficiency translates into less emissions. We're racers and we're not really concerned with emissions, but it's certainly a benefit that's there.
You mentioned getting less pit stops.
Well, we used to schedule all of our pit stops right at about 150 miles. Last year down at the Baja 1000, we were able to extend our pit stops to the 180 to 200 mile range, which is a little scary because we're used to stopping at 150 and we were worried about running out of fuel. But we always ended up having more fuel than we anticipated at every pit stop.
Cutting out 2 stops in that race probably saved us about 12 minutes, which is an eternity in racing.
So is this product how you guys explain winning over the competition, or is there more to it?
Well, of course, there's the aspect of never being satisfied and never giving up, but the fuel additive and the Efficiamax nano additive are definitely aspects of that.
The nano has been unbelievable. We run this in our engine. We normally run about 4 to 4,500 miles on a race engine and then tear it down and rebuild it. This last time that we tore down the motor, we saw virtually 0 wear. I mean, the cylinder walls, the bearings, everything was perfect. We debated on whether or not to rebuild it and decided not to. We simply threw some new rings in and ran from there. And now we've put another 4,000 miles on the motor and we see no loss in compression. The motor's running great and we are going to just see how far it'll go.
So that's not heard of then. Usually you do an engine overhaul and you replace all the parts.
Yeah, the dust particles in the desert are so small, you almost can't filter every single particle out. But for some reason, running the nano has saved the cylinder walls, saved the pistons, bearings. Everything just looks unbelievable.
So you were talking earlier, Jason, about using the products in some other vehicles. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. I personally have an F-250 diesel truck with a 7.3. And it's got over 200,000 miles on it. Once we started running the products, in the race truck and in this chase truck, I put it in my personal vehicle. My truck had a blow-by. I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but it's when the compression's going past the cylinders and coming out the oil fill tube. By coincidence, I happened to take that oil fill cap off, and I have no more blow-by. Well, the only conclusion I have is the products do what they say they'll do. They work. We also run the nano in our rear diff and a little bit in our power steering pump. We're seeing benefits throughout everything.
So can you guys tell me a little bit more about your sponsorship and how you came to know them?
Yes. Filtagreen International is Denton E3D Distributing, and Denton himself, he came to my auto repair shop for a small auto repair, and he couldn't help himself but mention his products, and I'm pretty sure he saw some skepticism in my face. He actually gave me some samples of the Efficiamax fuel treatment. I actually almost didn't use it, but I remembered I told him I would try it, and so I tried it. Immediately, we noticed benefits. The first benefit that I noticed was that the rattling sound of the diesel engine was reduced to the point where we could have better conversations in the truck. Then over the course of thousands of miles, it became obvious that we were getting better than a 10% increase in fuel economy. Still didn't want to believe it. I tried it through, I don't know, 20 tanks of fuel, and everything he said I would get, I got. And that's how I became interested in Filtagreen's products, and I actually called Denton and pursued the sponsorship once I believed in the products.
So where do you guys see yourselves going with the future?
Oh, well, we're going to the top. We're looking at potentially getting into the top level of the sport with an unlimited trophy truck for next year. Working with Denton on some details about that. We've added a pulling truck to the team. Our friend and associate Rick Walsh has a Ford pulling truck. That's a big, crazy 800 horsepower thing, and we're getting that dialed in, trying to get him into a championship next year.
He just finished second in points, by the way.
His first year out.
Yeah.
You know, Denton has really taken good care of us also. He's been there for us whenever we've needed him, and he's always pulled through, whatever it is. The Filtagreen products, everything that we've been doing together have all been pluses. With this type of relationship, I feel us going a long ways together to the top. Yep.
All right, well, I'm glad to hear it, and continued success to you guys, and thanks so much for being here, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.